So, out of desperation, I'm trying to figure out if there's a way. Out of desperation last night, I took almost a half of an Ativan, and I can't take, I really can't take these drugs because they really badly affect my breathing. A tiny bit of one of these medications really, you know, when like a third of a lorazepam, 0.33, each time I've taken one, and I've had to for a brain MRI or other times, and I don't take it often at all. It's like somebody running and kicking me in the chest. I put it in my mouth, and it's like my whole body is being taken over, like a profound. I've taken this. I was on benzos for 40 years. At one time, they had me on 4 to 6 milligrams of lorazepam a day. So I'm not inexperienced with this drug. I know this drug really well, and and then they had me on lorazepam and clonazepam and Zopiclone together for years, multiples of each, right? And I couldn't breathe anymore, and I weaned off of everything to fight for my life. I didn't sleep. I no longer slept. Severe apnea, sleepwalking, sleep eating, respiratory depression, all these, brought right to the brink of death, not sleeping. And I weaned off of everything. I was stuck there for years, sleeping 3 hours a night, and then started sleeping only 1 or 2 hours a night on all these drugs, on trazodone, on low dose quetiapine for sleep, on Zopiclone, on clonazepam, amitriptyline, like every drug they tried, and multiples of drugs at the same time. I didn't sleep, but the apnea was undiagnosed. Like, you cannot drug somebody out of sleep apnea. Hear me, every doctor in the world. You cannot drug somebody out of sleep apnea. What you're doing is you're torturing the person and making their sleep apnea worse with drugs. And so I eventually weaned off of everything to see if I would start sleeping again. And, here I am, 7 years off of the second last drug, 5 years off of the very last drug. So 5 years off of everything, off of daily everything. And it's all just torture and sleep apnea and respiratory depression and torture. I most nights I would rather die than go to bed. It's literal torture. So how I went more than 4.5 years sleeping only 1 or 2 hours a night, literally begging for my life, out of my mind, screaming for help. Nobody knew what to do other than drugs. Can't take drugs because my throat closes, because my throat closes awake, because of apnea, because of respiratory depression, because it slows down my breathing, because I'm suffocating. 4.5 years I went sleeping 1 or 2 hours a night, literally out of my mind, isolated, screaming for help. And on and 3.5 of those years was on CPAP, sleeping only 1 or 2 hours a night. Occasionally 4 hours a night. Just every few weeks I would have a night of 4 hours. So now I'm 5 years off of everything daily. And, the night before last, I slept 3 hours. And the night before that, I slept an hour. Like, this is life-threatening because a person cannot handle that. So last night, like, something's got to give. Things aren't giving, and I'm pretty sure it's the Chiari malformation that I'm not sleeping. So once in a blue moon, I will try a tiny bit of lorazepam. I would never, ever, ever try clonazepam or Zopiclone again. Never, never. Trazodone, no. But I know lorazepam very well. I know it's dangerous. It's dangerous to me mucking around. But on the flip side, it's dangerous sleeping 1 hour a night, 3 hours a night. It's hell. It's torture. I'm being tortured. So last night I took almost half a lorazepam, and I took it hours before bed, because if I take it right before bed, I'm in big trouble. It's too much. My body's just overcome, and it's to do with the brainstem, with the respiratory system in the brainstem. And and then I went to bed. I was on my, and I have to stop taking devices to bed. I was on the computer for a couple hours, and I slept 5 hours nonstop, never got up once to pee. So that's incredible. I think that's the first time ever in, 7 years, 10 years that I have slept through the night and never got up to pee. 5 hours. 5 hours of sleep, solid. Do I feel, well, when I woke up, I thought, wow, I feel great. But I mean, the truth is, I feel awful now that I'm awake. I'm sick. I feel awful. I'm in pain. But once I get going, it's 4:30 in the afternoon, when I try to get dressed and get outside, see if I can walk. I don't know if I can walk. So I wonder if I could do that, take a half of lorazepam once or twice a week to get 5 hours of sleep. If I take it every night, then it's so risky, because if I got physically dependent on this drug, and if someone cut me off, I would lose my life. Guaranteed. I would lose my mind from the withdrawal. I would be ripped apart. It's too bad that patients are not assured safety, right? That's the thing. Like it's so precarious. People don't know that they're not assured safety. If your doctor dies or moves, or if you move, or if, you're for some reason your doctor is no longer your doctor, or the FDA or their disciplinary board cracks down and tells your doctor you have to cut your patients off benzos, your doctor doesn't have a choice. Your doctor has no choice. And this is what has been done to so many people, right? They've been cut off, or they've told they have to wean. So if I started taking lorazepam every night for sleep, if I was cut off, I would lose my life. If I got, oh my God, that I never ever want to become physically dependent on anything again, ever. I almost lost my life with Zopiclone and clonazepam. Doctors did not know how to get me off of it alive. And I found that information last night that, because it affected my respiratory system. It affected my brainstem. I was stopping breathing awake. I was watching TV, stopping breathing. My diaphragm was stopping. My throat was closing, awake. Fighting for my life at night, stopping breathing nonstop. Serious problem with the brainstem. And it's the Chiari. So I'm going to get dressed to see if I can have a little bit of a day. I don't know. We'll see, because I feel like I've been hit by a train. So it's bizarre. It's bizarre. Taking a half of lorazepam, almost a half, and sleeping 5 hours. What a powerful, all these benzos, they are so, so powerful. And you know what? My life would be, and I know this after taking that half last night, my life would be, I would have more quality of life if I took benzos every day. I know that. But if I had to be pulled off of it, weaning off another benzo would kill me. I can guarantee you that. If I was pulled off cold turkey off of 1 milligram of Ativan, it would kill me. I know that. A medical crisis. I would have a higher quality of life. Like it's the stuff I read last night. I'm now living as a disabled person, and I've never thought of it that way. Like this is a different future. Like I never, really believed. I'm now a disabled person. I'm sick. Like what's the future going to look like? I don't know. I have no idea what the future could look like. Right now, I'm wondering if maybe I could do this twice a week, 3 times a week, take a half of a lorazepam and have 5 hours of sleep 2 or 3 times a week. Could I do that? Could I do that and not get physically dependent? I don't know. Because these drugs are so powerful and everyone underestimates them. And doctors will tell you, well, you're just on a little bit. There is no little bit when it comes to benzodiazepines and physical dependency. Well, I'm just on the tiniest amount, 0.5 clonazepam. Yeah, you're not. 0.5 isn't a little bit. I almost died weaning off of 0.5. I'm just on 1 milligram. You're not just on 1 milligram is really powerful of lorazepam. They're magical. They're magical beings, right? They're incredible. They're really a useful tool for really, really sick people. But they also, you have to respect the whole withdrawal and the dependency thing that,